it's Dominic Flux from Final Flux Jewelry. Today I'm going to talk something a little bit more about like the business side of things because I'm very passionate about jewelry and that's my whole life, but I also really love the business side. And today I want to talk about something that I do have a good amount of experience in terms of like influencer marketing. I got a really good tip on how to keep tabs on all of them. The ones that you've gotten into contact and all that stuff. I got a really cool one for you. So make sure you stay for that. And then kind of just like how I've approached influencers and what's worked the best for me. Full disclosure, here to promote influencer marketing or not. Like it's gonna work for you or it may not work for you, you know? Like for me, I have a lot easier time with like paid advertisements, but I still think that this is like a really cool topic to touch on. So let's just hop into it. So first of all, like my approach is like super different. For me, pitching somebody via email has very like low returns for me. It's not something that I've ever really focused on. We do it sometimes when we're looking for models, for example, for like a campaign. But honestly, where I have found the most success in working with influencers is actually kind of like picking them up at like influencer events. So I don't know where you're located, but like in Montreal, for example, we have a lot of like content creator events or networking events or like fashion events. All of these places are where influencers are going to be. And so it does take a little bit of networking and it might be very uncomfortable for some people. Like I totally get it. But if you want to meet them in person, that's the best place. And honestly, people, when they meet you and they know you and they get what you're about, like they're gonna be so much more receptive to working with you. Another thing is that like because they know you, a lot of the times they like you, they like what you're doing. I've had worked with so many influencers that I have like never ever paid. And I'm not saying not to pay them, like this isn't some way of like trying not to pay influencers because their work is worth. I'm coming from a bootstrap background, right? So I funded and started my business and did all of these things like on zero cash. And so if you're starting out with very limited budgets, you know, free swag, giving away free things and paying for them to do photo shoots with you, a lot of times it's not a reality. Like we cannot afford these things, even though it is a necessity, right? Marketing, in my opinion, is one of the most important things in your business. Probably over 60% of my business expenses are marketing related. Like even my staff, I have more marketing staff than I have production staff, right? It's so important. If you cannot do proper marketing and you cannot get right in front of the right people, like it doesn't matter how good your product is, like it's not gonna sell. So that is why we have such huge budgets and so much time allocated to these things. And so it really adds up really fast. Like if you have to start giving away free swag, especially if it's not like $20 products, you know what I mean? It can be a really high risk because it's not a guarantee that it's going to work every single time. And so it's not something that I generally suggest to do when you're starting out. And like even now, like for me, I still go to networking events and I still talk people up and I still go out and I meet them and I ask them. And like there's nothing wrong in that, you know what I'm saying? Like if they don't like your product or they're not interested in like representing your brand, then they're gonna say no, right? But at least this way you're talking directly to them, you're not getting lost in their email box. Like it's so much more efficient and like I've just had really good results doing it. So another thing is like I know that right now it is like COVID season, and so this is maybe not a reality for the majority of us to go to these networking events. Ask your network. You'd be surprised at how willing people are to help, especially startups. Like if you're passionate about what you're doing and people see that you're working really hard, like they're always so ready to help you. Ask your friends, like just ask them like, hey, like can you like mention me, or like could you ever maybe see if maybe you could connect us and then you can go for coffee or something like that. Like it's worth asking. Like the worst thing that's gonna happen is they're gonna say no and like that's it. So there are different ways of like going around it, but I strongly suggest doing that. So this is a really cool tip that I learned this year. When you're gonna start reaching out to influencers and you're gonna start working with them, a really free, cool tip to use, listen up, is actually Google surveys. And on this questionnaire, basically what you would have is you would have, for example, their availabilities, you would have their fees. Are they willing to take swag as compensation? How many followers do they have? What platforms are they on? And like their corresponding like followers on each account. Availabilities, you know, are they only available on the weekend? Well, your shoot is on a Wednesday. Like, you know what I mean? You just kind of want to fill out an entire form so that you can just shoot it out to everybody, get all of their information, and then keep it. So that way you're going to save so much time. So like say you don't have their budget for this shoot, but maybe in 6 months down the road, you can pull it back up and you have all of their information already ready for you, and you can already use that to make the proposal for the next like event. So it's so efficient. Honestly, like it's gonna save you so much time, and it's a great way to look. I feel like you just come off as so much more professional because you're able to just send everybody like very precise documents. So it not only saves you time, but it saves them time as well. So highly recommend. Influencer marketing has been something that doesn't necessarily bring return all of the time, but when it does, it is like quite successful for me. Like I'd say that it's really not even that high. Like honestly, I'd say maybe like 1 out of 4 influencers will generate a good return. I've definitely learned a lot over the years that you really have to make sure that the person that you're working with has really good engagement. That's something that you can find online. There's like a few websites. I'll link it down below. I can't think of it off the top of my mind, but like you can go in before even like getting in touch with them. You can literally write their name in this little like barcode and it will pop up their engagement. Generally you want an engagement over 4%. Anything under is not really good. You can't expect to have like really high results from that. So their demographic is going to correspond with mine. You'd think that it's kind of like the basics, but even though you know it's the basics, we all make these mistakes. Like I went in working with people who promote like Ardeen's, for example. Nothing's wrong with that. Like they have really cute sweatpants, like it's totally fine. But I'm selling a luxury product. So someone who's gonna buy Ardeen's is probably not gonna be interested in my product, right? It's not the same clientele, they don't have the same values, the same wants, so it's obviously not gonna work. So you really have to keep that in mind. So I hope these tips were helpful. I've used them over the last couple of years for many things, from like photo shoots to kind of like collaborations where they feature like my products on their page, or we do like actual collaborations together where we make them like custom jewelry. So like I said, again, influencer marketing for me has kind of been like a hit or miss, so I can't necessarily vouch for its like 100% efficiency. You gotta try it out a few times before like agreeing or disagreeing with this marketing tactic. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. If you liked the video, obviously hit the like button, subscribe if you want more, and yeah, let me know if you guys have any more questions and if you want to see like more like business topics, because I've been doing this for a few years now, so like I do have some experience. So yeah, let me know. Bye.